Welcome to the Delight Your Marriage podcast, the show where you hear from amazing and inspiring wives sharing their struggles, triumphs, and advice for this journey called marriage. Here's your host, Belah Rose.
Hi there, this is Belah Rose. I hope you're doing well. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday chatting about marriage and chatting about intimacy. If you were on the webinar with me on Tuesday, I want to say thank you so much for being there. And if you weren't, you still have just another week and a half to view it. And then after that, it'll be only just for purchase. So the title is How to Make Him Wild for You, the 5 Secrets of Receiving Love and Passion in God's Plan. Please check it out, delightyourmarriage.com/webinar, in order to get it for free before you'll have to pay for it. Now, today, Trista just goes through some wonderful tips about how to have a marriage where you are involved in intimacy, even when you're not physically in the same place. She's got fantastic tips. If you haven't listened to her first half, you can listen to how she grew up, was raised in the Bronx of New York, and what God did even when she found out she was pregnant way earlier than she expected to be. This woman is a woman that I absolutely adore, and she's got a wonderful heart, and you can tell she gives some really great insight today. So listen in. I want to switch gears and ask you about what your marriage looks like now.
So now my marriage is not perfect.
None of ours are
whatsoever, but we have such a deep love for each other because I believe it's because of what God had brought us through. You know, it's so deep. It's more than just saying, yeah, I love you, okay, but it's so much deeper in that. I can't even express it in words. It's still a learning process between my husband and I. We're still learning each other, but we are so happy, Wow. We're so happy. It's not based on our situation or our circumstances, but it's really God, because we've learned to have God as the center of our marriage, and it was birthed just out of all of that hurt and pain that we have gone through, just trying to come together,
Wow. Well, and Trista, I know you haven't yet mentioned this yet, but I think it's a very important detail that where is your husband right now?
So he is actually away. He's deployed. And he's in Japan, actually. And so he's due back soon. Yeah. And so it's, times like this where we, hold on to God, and we just look forward to meeting back up again,
Yeah. Is that how you do? I mean, how in the world do you get through? Has this been like a 6-month deployment?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Oh, sure. No. How long has this deployment been?
It's been about 6 months.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, how do you do that, Trista?
So it was a learning process, In the beginning, I was so out of my comfort zone. I had no idea what the whole military lifestyle was about. It was really just really listening and, number one, making mistakes. Number two, learning from my mistakes and really just growing from there. I had a woman, actually my pastor's wife, not now, but when I was in South Carolina. Okay. My pastor's wife was, she understood the whole military lifestyle. And so she would talk to me just about, what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, Wow. Yeah. And so I really just listened. I listened to that. It hurt doing those.
Can you share what she said?
Yeah. So
I don't mind.
One thing that I've learned not to do during deployments is to tell my husband every single thing that's going on. Like, every single thing that that was going on, whether like the car broke down, whether, a bill, like something was late or whatever. The kids wasn't acting right. I mean, I would share with him like my day-to-day things,
Yeah.
And eventually he was just like, I want to know what's going on, but I don't want to know like the exact the every single detail,
Yeah.
And it was almost hindering him from really concentrating on what his mission was, And so, I've learned to really just, tell him like the important things, like my son had surgery while he was away,
Oh my goodness. Wow.
It was surgery that wasn't nothing serious or anything like that, but there was some just some things that just had to get corrected, and he wasn't there, and so I was just giving him the update. I would give him like any kind of updates and things like that, but not on the fact that a bill was late or something, or something like that, or I ran out of gas or something. I don't know. Or I need to go gas up or something,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, little things like that. Like, there's no need for him to know like every single detail,
How do you do? I mean, like, in terms of, that could have been a really scary moment for you when your son's in surgery and it's just you by yourself. I mean, have you had to make sure that you have community around you, or how do you like make sure you don't go crazy while he's away?
Yeah, and that's really important too. That I get connected. Like, I had to get connected to. Well, number one, I had a church family,
Yes,
and they were my family, They were family away from family,
Yes.
And then I got involved in my husband's unit, Whenever I met wives, friends that I'm friends with till this day that I've met with, do different events and different circumstances and things like that.
Yeah.
I had community, I had community help. And not only community help.
So I wanted to ask you, so you said you keep community around you.
Yes.
Now, are you able to talk to your husband on a daily basis on the phone?
Yes.
When he's away? Okay, that's nice. And because this is Delight Your Marriage, I really am super interested, and you can share whatever you feel comfortable sharing, but like, how do you connect in terms of intimacy while he's away?
Oh, yeah. Now, do you really want me to get really in deep now?
Honestly, as much as you're willing to share, because here's the thing. There's wives that are listening that I've even had some reach out to me that their husband has to go and be long distance for some reason, or he travels for work, or, that's, and they have to be away. So I think people just have no clue. I don't. I have no clue how would you connect in terms of distance. So I'd love for you to share.
So, we have learned to just really be creative and fantasize a lot,
Okay. Together, like on the phone together or something?
Or phone, through Skype. My husband and I use Google Hangout.
Okay.
But we get creative. I know some wives tend to send underwear with their favorite. Oh my goodness, I have this favorite cologne that my husband uses. Oh my goodness, and so. And even, there's a perfume that my husband loves, and, just sending my, garments to him and things like that.
Yeah.
It's really just, and then we just really connect just by telling each other just really how much we love each other and how much we miss each other,
Yeah.
It has grown throughout the years.
Wow.
But, that's one of the main reasons. That's one of the main ways.
Yeah. Okay. And so, so it sounds like you're basically using the, like, technology is a big piece of it also.
Yeah.
It's like you're using the technology, and so together, do you kind of encourage, because this is something that I think couples have to talk about no matter what, whether they're far away or not, they need to be talking about like how much they're comfortable with masturbation? Is that mutual masturbation when they're together or masturbation separately?
Yeah.
And then, of course, in a biblical sense, masturbation has to be not, it's just about your husband or your wife. Yeah. Have you found like other wives, do they share like tips on this or that, or how do they kind of?
Yeah, they do. Some do. That I've spoken with, and we've even had like talks about it. As far not me and my husband, but as women, we would just have talks, and I've gotten some really good ideas from
Great.
really talking with with other women when it came to masturbation and things like that.
Yeah.
Some of them were very open about it, and some is just like, well, that's between me and my husband.
Yeah.
Which is which is whatever, if that's what to do, whatever. But I have, and even when it comes to like different toys and things like that. Some women would talk about that. Personally, my husband and I are not really big on toys and things like that. I think I would probably say we're very much like old-fashioned, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and if anyone does want to find toys in a Christian context, I've got some resources linked up on my delightyourmarriage.com. There's a tab that's called resources. You can just click from there and check out some Christian toys that are not Christian in that they're not scary. There's no nudity or any of that kind of stuff. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, sometimes it's hard to either take that step or even if you want to take a step like that towards.
But not only that, like I've learned that I had to be okay with my body and okay with myself as well. Like I had to be okay with saying, I'm not comfortable doing that, or I don't want to, I don't want to use toys or whatever.
No, that's good.
I have to be at peace with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. And so, can I just ask how nervous are you about using technology that it could get into the wrong hands somehow? Like somehow it could be, I mean. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
So I'm not nervous about it because whatever I do, it's for my husband, number one, and
right.
And then if my kids like find us, find pictures and things like that, I'm not gonna freak out and be like, how dare you, because I feel like it's my responsibility to put it in its proper place,
Okay. Yeah.
And so I, if it happens, I just let them know that, this is something for your father.
That's right. So you give that right back. That's funny. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and as a wife, I'm sure it's been important for you to be thinking about how to kind of meet and connect with him in that area, even when he's on deployment. I mean, it sounds like that's something that's on your priority list to make sure it happens, is it?
You mean to be satisfied?
Make sure, make sure sex is happening between the two of you, even when he's far away,
Yeah, to really to keep the romance burning,
Yeah.
Because, you don't want to fall into the typical, okay, let's take pictures, kind of thing, because it gets boring after a while,
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying do variety.
Do a variety of a lot of things,
Okay.
My husband has been on a lot of deployments, and so I've had to be really creative. But some women, they husbands don't go on as much deployment, so they don't have to be as creative. But my husband goes on deployments quite often, and so I've had to be creative and things like that. So.
Wow. Does it ever make you nervous that he's gone so long in that regard?
Oh no, because it's rest in the fact that God has a purpose and a plan for him too, and which includes him having to deploy, quite often times, that's part of the purpose. And so Getting nervous? No, because like I said, it's part of God's purpose, and He knows that too.
Yeah.
Not that temptation doesn't happen, because it does, and that's what growth. That's where growth comes in,
Oh, very good. Tell me what you mean by that.
So there have been times where while my husband has been away, that women have come to him, and not for sex or anything, but women have come to him to for any kind of advice. He's pretty high ranking, and so he's looked at as someone that you can go to for whatever, and then would try to do something, but it's always taken care of, or he goes to other countries, where in other countries sex is very wide open, can sell themselves for sex in different countries and things like that. And that too,
Yeah, and he shares with you when these temptations come up.
Oh yeah, he shared with me that in this particular country, some women they give massages. Okay. Now in this country, my husband was he's into jujitsu and things like that.
Oh,
and
cool!
So he'll go and do that in this particular country. But then also there's to help out with with your body and things like that your body goes through when you do jujitsu. They have sports massages, but they have other services as well that would take it up a notch. So again, it's things like that you have to be mindful.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I bet, and here's a question just for, this is a podcast for wives, but, husbands do listen too. Is it helpful that he shares with you these times that he feels tempted?
Yeah, it does, because, it builds my trust for him, It builds my trust, and I know that even when I may hear something, from other wives that may talk I saw your husband, getting a massage, and what they do over there in that country kind of thing, And, the thing is, I know my husband, my husband, and I trust him. So, not only does sometimes he'll share with me that there's other men that will leave their wives because, they feel so, in other countries, women, are just taught differently on how to take care of their husband. And then when they go over to these countries, they feel so taken care of. They feel so wanted,
Okay, yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So they literally, my husband was sharing with me this one time, he was sick. He was very much sick, and the maid at this particular country, took care of his clothing, ironed his clothes, bought him soup and things like that. And she didn't have to do that, and she didn't have to do that. But that was just part of the culture of what women do, of just taking care of, of people, that's how they take care of each other,
Yeah.
And it's things like that sometimes men will just leave their wives because they just feel so taken care of,
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's I love that you pulled out it helps you trust him, for him to tell you when he's feeling either tempted or when these things happen, and that other men
they're really compromising,
Yeah.
It can make him look bad when he's, just innocently, just doing whatever, just doing his day-to-day things, and temptation comes in all kind of angles.
Right. And I think it's very wise of you to say, okay, we need some variety. We need to make sure that he's feeling, the desire and, able to connect in the ways that we can connect with each other via these different hangouts and that kind of thing, which is really great. Good. Well, thank you for going into all that. I really appreciate it because I think it's really going to help people. I've gotten questions around that area already, and so
and sometimes too, what helps is
yeah.
I don't know if this is too personal, but
if you're willing to share. Okay, thank you. It's safe. It's a safe place here.
So sometimes doing videos as well helps out.
Yeah. Okay. So sending a video or like on a hangout.
Sending videos of my husband and I, and just recapping the intimacy and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really good. It's interesting, like as wives, a lot of times we're like, well, that just seems way too whatever, right, or way too out there, or all that stuff. It's easy for us to think that, but the truth is that is your intimate act, that is your intimacy. And the fact is, if you're having to be separated, Paul says, don't deprive each other except for a short time. If you have to fast and pray, and then hurry up and start connecting, start doing it again. Otherwise, Satan can tempt you to sin. And so I think it's very wise, Trista, that you are very, careful about your husband's desire for sex, because the truth is you don't want Satan to get in and tempt him to sin. You want to make sure that you're meeting those desires for him.
And it's and of course prayer helps as well. I'm constantly praying for my husband that he with God's help that he overcomes temptation. I'm not going to be blind to the fact that he's not going to be tempted. And so
that's good.
I have to do my part as well. And so does God.
Right.
Give him the strength to overcome this.
Right.
And so
that's right.
And sometimes he's not always motivated to get into the Word as well,
Yeah.
He's not always motivated. He's not always, there with other spiritual, friends that can keep him accountable, Sometimes it's just him. And so prayer plays a huge part in that as well,
awesome. Yeah.
And so I'm always praying for him to meet godly men and women, but mostly men. Men can relate to men, And, and so, I do that as well. So he is covered
that's good.
Every single day, covered.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. And I like that you also mentioned that he also has a job to do of being in the Word himself, being prayerful himself. Eve was the one that took the apple, but Adam was the one that was responsible, so men have a lot on their shoulders. As wise wives, we can do what we can. That's the work I do, a webinar that's coming up really soon. I hope that people will be on. But I'm talking about what the wives can do. But, obviously the men, have got to take the responsibility ultimately. So that's really good. Okay, so I want to, in terms of time, I love that we got into that deeply. But if you could say what are the chief 3 things that you feel have been central to your marital success, what would they be?
So the key thing I would always, one of the key things is, number one, of course, always have God, as center, okay?
Yeah.
And that was something that my husband and I saw, how can I say this, displayed, between my pastor back in South Carolina, between him and his wife. They were honest. They were honest about their bedroom. They were honest about their finances and everything. And we love that, okay? Yeah. So we love just the honesty because we feel like, we're just different, and we just felt like, we just needed someone to really just show us, like, what does it look like to have Christ in our marriage? And so
that's good.
We really we have really learned to do that. Another thing is not running away from being convicted. Now let me explain that.
Yeah.
So sometimes there are times where I don't want to hear that. Sometimes I'm nagging him, I'm nagging him, but I know that, and I'm just saying that as one thing, but not running away from being convicted or just being challenge, because I know that it's for the betterment of not just me, but for both of us, you know?
Yeah.
And just growing from my mistakes, growing from my convictions. And so I'm not going to just run away from sometimes when he tells me something that's uncomfortable. Okay?
Yeah.
So
That's
that's another thing that I would say. And then number three, the one thing that has really I don't know if this is going to be part of your question. I don't know. I know we can end it, but one of the things that has really impacted my life was a book that I've read.
Yeah.
It was a book that I read called A Woman After God's Own Heart. And in the book, she described just really how to take care of a home, and really, what you need to do when it comes to taking care of a home and things like that. So this is my third reason. In the book, she describes on just basically how important it is, to manage your home. And so she gave this story about how her husband always after work would come, and as soon as he comes, when dinner starts. So her and her children would sit down and eat dinner. But at this particular day, he was late. He was late to dinner and didn't tell her. And so after the kids ate, she put them to bed. She stood up waiting for him. And so by the time he got home, when he got to the door of their house, he literally fell into the door. And he said to her, he said, the whole time, I was at work, and this whole time that I was, just busy running around, he said, all I could think about is if I could just get home, I'll be okay. And it gave that picture of just how almost like a sanctuary your home could be, like a home of just being relaxed and things like that. And that really brought it home for me, because, I really want to accomplish that when whenever my husband comes back from deployment, or even when he comes back from work, I want him to feel like this is my sanctuary. Like I want him to feel relaxed, and like the troubles of the world he can leave at the door, but at home he could be himself. He can, just whatever, he could just fill back up, so he can be able to take on, the things as he get back into the world, right? And so that's one of the things that it had made such a profound life change in my life, that it made me want to accomplish that, and basically every single day, even from deployment, when he comes home from deployment, and even when he comes from work, I want him to feel that way, not just him, but my children as well.
That's awesome. No, that's really cool. Well, thank you for answering. Yeah, that was one of my questions, was the book that you'd recommend. Now, we talked a lot about the intimacy advice, but if there was one tip that you wanted to give that you wish someone let you in on earlier about physical intimacy, what would it be?
Right away, I just thought of that God created sex, God created sex for me to enjoy,
That's awesome.
That was one thing that really freed me,
yes.
From a lot of things,
yes.
That God created me to enjoy sex, so it's not like bad, that I enjoy sex most of the time, like almost all the time, Yeah. I mean, He created it for me to enjoy, so I really love that.
Yes, I think that's a huge thing. And so this is actually the final question, is if you could go back to year one in your marriage and sit yourself down, what's one piece of advice that you would give to you?
I would tell myself, Trista, you are going to be okay.
Yeah.
You are going to be okay, because year one was very hectic. And Trista, everything is going to work out. God has such a beautiful plan for you, Trista. Just hang on to God. Do the difficult times, and watch God just manifest Himself in your life.
Yes, that's awesome. And then where can our audience find and connect with you?
Oh, they can definitely find out more about me on my website, A Purpose Driven Wife, at adrivenwife.com, or on my Facebook page, A Driven Wife, or you can email me at tlaborn@hotmail.
Perfect. Okay, Trista, well, I am excited. You have given us so much great insight and wisdom, and thank you for everything. I mean, all that you're doing, the work that you're doing, and please check out her podcast, and she's got a book in the works. I'm not sure. Did you finish the book yet, or is it still in the works?
Oh, it is almost done.
It's almost done.
Yeah, probably by the end of this month. I'm so excited.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so it actually might be available by the time this airs. It'll air in just a couple of weeks. So awesome. Well, Trista, again, thank you for everything, and I'm looking forward to chatting more soon.
Yes, thank you.
Wasn't that fantastic? Trista is such a wonderful lady, and you can find out all of the details of what we talked about, and also go to the resources page at delightyourmarriage.com/resources if you're looking to spice things up in intimacy, whether you are right next to each other in the same bed or seas apart, as Trista talked about. Okay, my dear friend, God bless you. I love you, and I'm praying for you and your marriage.
Thanks for joining. If you've been inspired by this show, would you help spread the word? If you take a moment to review and subscribe, others can find us more easily. Find out how at delightyourmarriage.com/iTunes. Until next time, live with love, wisdom, and passion.